right, boys. We got to bring the juice today.
Juicy juice.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
Relatively speaking. Thank you for all who listened to our first episode.
Yeah, all 40 of you.
That was awesome. We actually got some pretty positive feedback.
Yeah.
Put it up on our Instagram, and it through Spotify, AI throws together just that first clip that you guys saw on my story, where I was talking about coaching lacrosse and when I was an assistant and
yeah. Is it wild that that's the clip that it picked?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I feel maybe I could tell in my voice that I
settled into a groove.
Yeah. So that was cool, and I got a lot of people, kids that I used to coach and stuff. Actually, the
keep talking.
Police officer who looked into the head coach who investigated him, he messaged me about it. So that was pretty funny to see that he had seen that I was talking about him and kind of where that conversation went. But anyways, today we wanted to jump back into this. You'll see we're just starting off. We're going to have some ups and downs, some ebbs and flows with the podcast. And we actually just shot this podcast 5 minutes ago and it didn't record. Yeah. So here we are.
Jamie didn't push record.
Here we are back for
Jamie.
Episode 2 for the second time.
Yep. And episode 2 2.0.
In my head, I was already thinking, well, I have no idea what we just talked about, so this is probably going to be completely different, which is cool because it's going to be an organic conversation.
Yeah, which is what we want. We don't want to feel scripted at all, but obviously we need some sort of outline. So
yeah, there's no major agenda that we have. Otherwise, what we kind of outlined in that first episode was just kind of getting you to know who we are and what we do, and we want that, and we want to make an impact here in our community of Redding, California. But for the most part, this is just a podcast about our lives as dads, as best friends, as brother-in-laws, kind of what everyday life looks like, chance for us to chat as close. I feel like as close as we are and as close as you are with anybody.
Yeah.
It's rare to have a long form conversation and sit down and actually chat.
Well, dude, especially when most of the time we're together, we're either running, which we talk, but it's, between, well, at least you don't, you just skate around at 135 and I'm at 155. But, when we are together, it's the kids and wives and people, which is great. Obviously that time is awesome, but having, like you said, a long form conversation is cool too. So what you been up to? What's the last week look like?
Well, actually, going off of that, we were together yesterday. Last night, our family's in town. My parents are in town for Thanksgiving. We're shooting this a day before Thanksgiving. So we went over to Sarah and Jeremy's house last night for dinner. My wife cooked. We brought over homemade fajitas. She does the key, dude. The key is the homemade tortillas that she does. Yeah, doing the tortillas that way make all the difference with this bomb cilantro sauce, dressing, whatever, which was super good. But then Jay and I went out to the fire after dinner, and we're trying to chat for a second, and then you just get bombarded with 82 kids and fighting over a baby doll or making sure that
beads getting dropped on the ground.
Charlie doesn't put his face in the fire. So we don't get, just to sit down and have these long conversations very often. So it's cool. So that was kind of the idea behind starting the podcast, just to let you guys all in on our life, talk things out, be a resource for those who need it. Just chat. We love listening to podcasts and seeing the dynamic of different people, whether it be a comedy podcast or a motivational, or, whether we're learning new things from experts in certain fields. We certainly are not
micro learning.
We certainly are not experts in any field.
No.
but we're just normal dudes that like to have a good time and want to bring you guys along on the journey. So I hope you're enjoying as we do this more. We're going to get more comfortable. We'll get our feet under us and figure out the direction that we really want it to go, and make sure that everything is going the way that we kind of want it to, and whether that's bringing guests on or bringing up different topics or responding to certain things in the news or memes or current events and stuff like that. We'll kind of go from there. But for this one, we're talking about kind of just how our week went going into Thanksgiving.
Having a good time and offsetting the debauchery that will take place tomorrow, both in food and drink, which is, I'm excited about it, but we have become the need to do something to offset. So we are doing a half tomorrow, a half marathon.
Yep. We have a cool trail. So I think I mentioned last week, we have a run that we typically do across the Sacramento River. Tomorrow, I think we're going to do a different trail. Although, what body of water is that?
It's the same. That's still the Sacramento River.
It is still, but it's just, it's a totally different trail that we run. This one's called the Rail Trail.
The Rail Trail, yeah.
Yeah, which is more just like a straightforward, you can kind of get a straight line in order to do whatever, 6.5 and then turn around. And I'm glad that it's only a 13.1 mile run tomorrow, because at about 7 miles on this trail,
Pennywise's Cave. Yeah,
run through this.
It's a railroad tunnel.
But it is so sketchy. And the first time I did it by myself, I was like, where the hell did Jeremy have me run? I'm for sure getting shanked in this thing or getting eaten by Pennywise.
Yep.
It's completely dark. It's pretty long.
I think it's only like a tenth of a mile. It's not that long.
But like it's not like you run through it for like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
like you're going for a minute or two in there. And I'm just like looking around, like looking behind me, afraid that freaking something's going to jump out and get me.
You.
But so we don't have to go that far this time, so that'll be cool. Nice. But that'll be a good one. And then we will come home. My family's hosting Thanksgiving this year, so everyone will be over at our house. And we decided to nix the turkey idea this year. I think that's going to be a popular opinion for most people, because that's just a stupid dry bird, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
My mom wasn't too happy about the idea, but I assured her we are doing all the other Thanksgiving sides, a traditional Thanksgiving, but we're going to do tri-tip instead. So still having... Jeremy makes an insane jalapeno mac, so we're still having that, mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberry sauce, salads. Is your dad making cranberry sauce? Yeah, my dad's doing cranberry sauce. My wife is doing a cherry pie, these hand pies that are great. She's doing a loaf of sourdough. You're doing sourdough biscuits.
Yeah, I'm doing biscuits.
Sarah's doing this really good salad. So we'll have all the traditional.
The trimmings, I think, is what that is. The
Thanksgiving. I don't know if that's true.
No, is that
I think trimmings are from a turkey, maybe. But we're, like we said, not experts in very many things.
None things, actually.
I'll tell you what I am an expert in, though, and that is football. Okay. And in particular, Chargers football. I am dealing with a tough loss here after Monday Night Football to the Ravens in the Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of the Chargers, lost to his brother, John Harbaugh, this Monday night. And it's been cool this season. I have gotten my oldest nephew involved in football, Finn. He's taken a liking to it, and he's just the sweetest kid.
Dude, he's hooked.
Yeah.
He's way hooked.
Which is awesome to see. He knew...
Because for the record, I'm not a sports person. I think I said this already, but just to let the record reflect, I don't know who the Chargers are or the Ravens.
So funny.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeremy very much does not follow any sports. Although I have gotten Jeremy into the UFC.
Yeah, more into UFC.
Yeah. So that's awesome. We watch all the big fights together. I'm a degenerate and watch every fight, but I'll get the pay-per-views and have Jay come over and watch those. So that's cool. But seeing Finn start to like football has been awesome because he knew literally nothing. And he started like telling me through his youth group and stuff, like, oh, everybody likes the Chiefs and they don't know how good the Chargers are. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. So if you know me, I can be a little obsessive. And growing up, I would never let anybody watch a Chargers game with me. I would sit in my room by myself and watch it because it determines the rest of my week, how if they win
That's
or
why
lose.
you've been in a bad mood all week?
If they win or lose.
I thought you just didn't like
And
it.
so I have included him in some games. Now, he's come over for both the Monday night games, and we've lost both of the games that he's come over for.
here we go.
On Monday
It's-
night. So
it's hit-
he
it's-
might not be included anymore.
Maybe bring River because River was watching it too. I spent 35 minutes trying to get YouTube TV to work so
Yeah.
he could watch it.
It's so funny. Like all these things, like we were saying with Jeremy not knowing sports, like he's always texting me about or just stressed out. Like when before we lived here, if we would come up and visit,
Oh yeah, did you? It's
I'd be like, all right, well, I got to watch the Chargers game on Sunday. And he doesn't have whatever cable or whatever YouTube TV, however it would be on. And there's now with the NFL, there's so many different ways of
that's the
watching
thing about I
games.
don't understand. It's like
Well, nobody has. When I grew up, or when we, it's
just
on
watched
channel
cable.
ABC
Yeah.
or Fox. It was 2 or 11.
Yeah.
Now nobody really has that, so it's on all these different streaming. They're doing it on through Peacock and Prime and Hulu and ESPN Plus. Now, like every streaming service has certain
whack.
games.
So
but I have YouTube TV, but then I have like the NFL package, and so I watch all the games through that. But Jeremy didn't have that, so then he's trying to figure it out,
because I'm a loving father,
which was great.
Yeah.
So then River,
and he watched. He sat and watched it. He did.
got to watch the game. But it's funny because it reminded me of myself growing up. My dad, similar to Jeremy, knew nothing about sports. Just didn't care. Wasn't that type of dad. Isn't that type of dude. He just grew up, in the 60s and 70s, a little bit of a hippie, a skater, moved from Long Island to Laguna Beach, and never cared about sports. So when I was little, I skateboarded first. That was like my first passion. And when we moved to Mission Viejo, I met a kid in our neighborhood named Jared Spaney. Shout out. He's since passed. He was my first friend in Mission Viejo. He was 2 years older than me. And he used to skate through our neighborhood. And my mom was like, why don't you go outside and skate with him? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And
Just a Smalls moment from
Yeah.
Sandlot. Go get dirty. Go climb a tree.
yeah, so I went out and I met him, and he kind of took me under his wing. He's the sweetest, most badass dude ever. I have so many stories, and I'm trying not to talk as much as I did last time on the pod.
You're failing, by the way.
Yes, but I have so many stories of him.
You are a talker.
He's
good.
an awesome kid. But I started skating with him. And then he had an older brother that played football. So one day he asked me to go to the park and play football. And I'm like, why would I ever want to do that? Like, that sucks. I'm a skateboarder.
A skater boy.
And but I went and I just instantly loved it. And I came home and I asked my mom to sign me up for Pop Warner. Like I was just in, like fully in. But I knew nothing. And my first season of playing football, my head coach was a Redskins fan. I have no idea why or how. But he took us to the opening day game, Chargers-Redskins 2001 at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. And I was in the S. I had my shirt off. I started playing football when I was like 10 or 11. So you're like in your chubby, awkward stage. So I had little like man boobies. I was in that awkward
Yeah.
stage of life, starting puberty, and I was the S in one of the S's in Redskins, which I don't know, are you even allowed to say Redskins anymore?
I was just going to ask you if Redskins was one of the team names that just got changed. That has been changed.
Yeah, they're not the Redskins anymore.
Because what was it? The Indians are now the Challengers or the
No, they're the what are they? Baseball sucks.
baseball
Gladiators or something? Guardians?
Guardians.
The Guardians.
Yeah, they're the Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah,
that's a word you're not allowed to say either. So I'm gonna just be quiet.
The Redskins are now the Commanders. But so I went to that game. It was LaDainian Tomlinson's rookie year, first game of the season. So it was his first game ever in the NFL. He's gone on to be a Hall of Famer. He crushed Chargers, crushed them, and I was sitting there like painted in the heat. I got the tan lines like
From
when
the S?
when I took off the S, like when I came home, my little chubby belly had an S imprinted in it.
Oh my god!
And I was like, why do I like this team? They suck. I'm gonna like the Chargers. And being in Southern California, they were the local team, so they were on TV every week. So because of that, I watched them every week, and I just became obsessed with them. And if you know anything about football, which Jeremy knows some from just hearing me talk about it, it has been a rough life being a Chargers fan. Now, the thing is, they're not a bad team where, if you've been a Browns fan or some of these other organizations.
Like in the Red Sox.
Other, I don't know if that's true. I think the Redskins
that's
are
both
great,
like the curse of the Bambino, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
But the Chargers are always a pretty good team, and they always find a way. They actually have their own phrase called chargering, because they have found ways to lose in the most. Like 1 year, they had the number one offense in the NFL and the number one defense in the NFL, which is like crazy. Yeah. That's very rare to do, and they missed the playoffs because they had the 32nd ranked special teams unit in the NFL, which typically doesn't factor in as much, but they would literally lose a game on a blocked field goal or a blocked punt, or somebody would run back a kickoff, and they just found ways to lose that are just not heard of. And so they have ripped my heart out.
But
so
you're
many
a
times.
diehard, and you won't let them go.
Yeah, but this year has been great so far.
Yeah.
They're in a really good position. So, anyways, with all this rambling, is to say that Finn has gotten into it, which has been
he's
cool
stoked
to see.
on it, and it's cool that you brought him into it, because he's at an age where he's trying to figure out what he likes to do, and he's into video games.
Well, and he's recently started jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's doing jiu-jitsu, and it's just weird for him to find what his. I just remember being 13 and trying to figure out where the hell I belonged in the world, right? Finding your people, and it's cool for him to have all these different things that he does to, find his passions. But he, dude, being 13,
Yeah.
my God, there's a lot of ages I would go back to, but 13. I wouldn't go back to.
Yeah, it's pretty funny too. Like I was saying, we've been part of the biggest reason in moving here, and I went to lunch with my dad yesterday, and this sweet old lady was sitting next to us, and somehow we started chatting because I think my dad heard her say something about San Clemente, and so then we chatted, and she had lived there, and
I love that your parents do that. They will literally spark up a conversation with anyone about anything over oh, I have red shoes too. Just the most random. I'm like,
it's good. It's a good quality.
It's a great quality.
It's a good quality.
I admire it deeply. I'm not that way at all. I probably should be, but it's anyway.
Yeah, I think he heard her say. I wasn't even paying attention. I think he heard her say San Clemente, and so then that. And anyways, so we tell her that I tell her that I had just moved here from Orange County, and she looks at me funny, why would you do that? And it's just funny how people's perspective on different things. But for sure, the major factor was to get my kids to be here and raise them with their cousins, and to be around my siblings and stuff more, and just change of pace in life, like we were saying in the last
Yeah.
episode. But one of the other major factors that kind of maybe we don't talk about as much was just being able to be an uncle. And, that's something that, you had kids earlier. So I've been an uncle for now 13 years, and you're kind of beginning that phase
Totally.
of your life,
Right.
which is crazy because you've been a dad for so long.
Yeah.
But now we have, young kids. So you get to be, Uncle Remus.
Uncle Remus.
That's a great. Wow.
There
Did
we
you
go.
see this? We're learning how to
we're
flow.
figuring it out. There
So
it is. We found it.
Jeremy is Uncle Remus in
Yep.
our family. And if you are an Adam Sandler fan, I'm hoping
how
you
could
would.
you not be?
I'm hoping you catch that reference. But
Yeah.
Big Daddy is one of my favorite movies.
It's an all-timer.
And at one point, he's on the phone
Yeah.
with his roommate Kevin, and his Kevin's girlfriend's there, and that's Hooters McGee that he's always making fun of, and she hears him on the phone, and she's like, "Is that Kevin you're talking to?" And he's like, "No, it's my Uncle Remus."
Yes,
and so
Uncle Remus.
yes, Uncle Remus, the catfish are biting. So he calls him Uncle Remus. So then when Jay became an uncle, I started calling him Uncle Remus.
Yeah.
And now my Sunday, my daughter just refers to him as Reem.
Yep.
And Charlie, my little guy, is,
Runs in the house. Reem.
Reem. So it's pretty cute. But getting to be an uncle to Finn and, being around here with him more. I've been taking him to the gym with me on Fridays. So he works out with me on Friday mornings, and you just get to know him on a more personal level, and you see he's just such a sweet kid. But as these kids, man, like as he's getting older, you just he's just like dancing all the time. And I don't get it.
I don't either.
He's just standing there like doing these like weird
Well,
TikTok like dances. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to call him out, but then I also understand like how like fragile you are at 13. I don't want to but I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? He's
Well, a
just
lot of it-
constantly moving his hips and
I think it's called.
hands
I
and
think it's
stuff.
called emoting or styling. I think is what it is. I think it's from Fortnite. Is what it's from.
who knows? Well, because it's always something different. He's like doing different stuff. He's doing the gritty from time
Yeah, I don't
to
know.
time, and it's pretty funny. So he's like just doing these awkward little things, and he's constantly saying like just these phrases that are
Scooby Doo
hilarious.
Milwaukee.
Yes. Stuff is just Ohio if it's bad. So that sucks for you, Ohio. I hope we don't have any listeners there. Because apparently, just if you suck
The
or
third
if
circle of hell. In
whatever,
Ohio.
you're just.
Yeah.
Our routine is we go to the gym at the YMCA. We go to the gym in the morning, go in the sauna, and then go in the river. So we do a little cold plunge. And I've been having him do that with me, and he's getting pretty good and figuring it out. And when the water level went down in the river, it was like not as easy to get in. And so it was like, and he's just like mad about it. And we're like climbing over these rocks to find a place to get in. He's just like, bro, what is this Ohio cold plunge? I'm just like, what?
Yeah. I don't know.
Ohio cold plunge.
know,
So,
dude.
but he's just so funny. It's so cute.
Yeah. He's definitely developing his own personality, and I don't know where half the stuff he comes. But the funny thing is too, he reminds me so much of me as a kid.
Well, besides being the gangliest kid.
Oh yeah,
ever,
for
like
sure.
you,
Well, but
yes.
just even just like random things like just dancing for no reason. Like I didn't do that, but I would do just the stupidest things, and it's fun to watch him do that. But yeah, you excited to do this half marathon tomorrow? 13.1. I don't know if I'm excited about it, but I feel like I'm
Yeah.
going to earn some good treats tomorrow.
Yeah. The thing is, without sounding like so much of a tool, when you are trying, especially training for a full marathon, it's crazy how like distances that you thought were like unattainable become so much easier.
For sure.
So it's like whereas you used to be just stressed out of your mind for a particular run, now like 13 has become fairly standard. Now it's not going to be the easiest. It'll still, take us whatever and hour and 45 minutes or something like that, under 2 hours or whatever. So but it's just crazy the amount of hours that you have to log in these trainings, that like when you see like a 10-mile run on your training or whatever, and you're like, oh, nice.
Stoked, yeah.
And it's like,
Totally.
it's such a trip because you're, like we said, like getting in these routines and stuff. It's not always the easiest to do. But once you kind of get yourself in it and you stay consistent with it, you just see like how capable you actually are,
For sure.
which is pretty awesome. Cause like I said, we don't have like that background or anything. Like we kind of just picked up running. We didn't know how to train or whatever. Like we just Googled different training programs, and like anything that you look for on the internet, you can find an answer
14 opinions.
But you can find whatever it is you're looking for. So if you want it to be as hard as possible, you can find that. If you want it to be as easy as possible, you can. So there's just so much information that you're like, okay, what do I do? How many miles should I be running? So yeah, as far as tomorrow, it'll be solid. It's just a good way to get up, start your day, I feel like, and then just, see, now that we're married and we have kids, and I mean, you've been in this since you were a teenager, but I got married a little later than you. It's not like it used to be where I could come home from that run. Not that I did run then, but sit on the couch and watch football and drink beer. Now I gotta, I gotta cook.
Football's on Thanksgiving, right? Who's playing?
Jeremy. There's several games. There's like 4 games.
Which game will be on in your house?
They're all at different times. It's like a progression throughout the day.
Gotcha.
From like 9 a.m. the first game starts. The Detroit Lions play every.
Tim Allen's favorite team.
Wow.
Didn't know that? You remember that from Home Improvement? Did you watch Home Improvement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they supposed to be from like Detroit or something?
Well, Tim Allen's actually from Michigan.
Okay.
So he's like a diehard Detroit Lions fan. And
yeah, they play the Bears. That's the first game tomorrow. That's like, I'd say that's probably one that I'm most interested in.
Nice. We already talked about enough football, though. Let's move on to something else.
True.
It's not going to be raining tomorrow when we run, but it made me think about the last 2 weeks that it has been raining and running on the treadmill and the movies that I watched, because I'm a movie watcher on the treadmill.
Yes.
Which is a little bit psychotic, but you got to do something to pass the miles because it's mundane. But anyway, watched
on the treadmill in particular.
Watched Fury for the first time. Hadn't seen that one with Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, that other dude's name that I can never remember from The Walking Dead.
Great,
fantastic movie.
You always forget, man. Michael Pena. That guy is great in it. Because
from End of Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Which that scene, and we'll get back to Fury, but that scene in End of Watch where him and Jake Gyllenhaal are police officers in downtown LA, and there's a scene where he goes into there's like a domestic violence case or something, is it, that he goes into the house? But anyways,
to fight the gangster.
Him and this like gangster just agree to just like straight up square up, and the gangster's like, if you beat my ass, I'll put the cuffs on myself.
Yeah.
And so they just have like a straight up fight, and Gyllenhaal's like recording it and laughing. Michael Pena ends up whooping his ass.
Yep.
And then he takes out the handcuffs just drops them in front of him. And that scene is so sick. It's like, I wonder, it makes you wonder. I feel like stuff like that has to go down, right? Yeah. Don't you think?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, maybe now with everything being recorded, but I'm still sure in some of these places and stuff, like, I just hope there is. Give them a little vigilante justice.
Yeah, I mean, they need that. Yeah,
it's all time. But yes, he's great in it, and then he plays a really good role in Fury. Yeah. Which that movie's great.
I don't know how I had never seen it
because you love World War II.
Yeah, World War II movies. I don't know how I'd never seen it, but yeah.
Well, dude, Shia LaBeouf is he's such.
You've talked about him for so long
Yeah.
Obviously, he was on the Disney Channel on Even Stevens, but you've talked about him in all the different drama, like Peanut Butter Falcon, and then
Honey Boy.
Honey Boy.
When it's like about
And
his
I was
life.
always just, I don't really get it. But then when I watched him in Fury, I was like actually impressed. I'm like, damn, this guy can actually act.
Oh,
He's-
yeah, dude.
He's legit.
He plays a really good role.
Yeah.
He's like that strong Christian
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
He's like always reading the Bible and quoting
Bible
scripture and
scriptures,
stuff.
yeah.
And he's just really good in that one. That one's a great one. And then you get freaking Brad Pitt, man. That haircut, woo,
Yeah.
smoke show.
That's
Dude's a
the
smoke
haircut
show.
you should have done for yourself.
Yeah, still regretting cutting off the Riz.
Yeah, dude, you lost your wrist, but it's going to be good. Tomorrow going to be a good day. We're you're wrapping this up here, but any closing thoughts, comments, concerns, questions?
No, not at all. We've like we talked about, we're still figuring this whole thing out, so we appreciate you guys listening. Got a lot of really awesome feedback.
Totally.
It's obviously from our close friends and family right now, but we had some cool feedback from some people that we hadn't heard from in a while.
Oh yeah, I mean,
which was awesome to see, and just like people being stoked. You're always a little nervous, like, are people just going to think you're like, oh yeah, of course you're doing a podcast, so does everybody, or oh, you think you're
anybody
like,
that knows me
cool.
would never think that.
No, of course, which is actually awesome, and that's like what
For
I
sure.
feel like the dynamic on here and how I think it's going to work out so well is because obviously you're not the most talkative, a little bit more of the strong silent type.
Emphasis on the strong.
Emphasis on the silent.
Yes.
And so,
The
yeah,
S is
having
silent.
this dynamic where I hand up, talk too much. Noticed that in the first episode. So trying not to do that, but then, just figure, but what's good about it though, too, is it just is our dynamic,
Yes, and I think too, people get insight into what our runs together are like. It's you talking and me listening and breathing heavy.
as I jog backwards.
Yes, as you jog backwards. No, you don't jog backwards, bro. I'm keeping up.
I'm kidding.
I got like 18 inches on you. And
in what
55
department?
pounds, all of the departments.
18 inches on me, huh?
Yeah,
Dude,
No.
not cool, man.
it's good. It's good though. But thanks for hanging with us, guys. It's been this is take 2. I like this one better than the first one, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the producer's fired and we're gonna get a new one.
Yeah, we're going to shoot. And like I said, if I'm repeating myself, that's because we just recorded one and now this is our second time. But our plan is to shoot on Wednesdays and release them on Fridays. So look out for the pod to be released on Fridays.
Yep, Spotify,
Up on YouTube
iTunes,
now.
YouTube. Yep, it's all there.
We'll post it in our stories on Instagram. And then, yeah, dude, if you guys subscribe to the channel, you'll get it updated automatically when it drops each Friday. And then we will go from there. We'll keep shooting. We'll keep getting better at this. We'll bring you along on this journey of life that we're
Remember
on.
when? That's what you're going to be able to say. Remember when those two idiots didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah. And then we're going to have our own Jamie, our real Jamie, which will probably be Phineas.
Yeah, he's for sure going to be here next week because I'm tired of getting up and turning on all these cameras and pushing the buttons. And I'm staring at my laptop wondering if it's been recording this whole time. So stay tuned.
Awesome, guys. Well,
yeah.
thanks again, and we will chat next week.
Yeah, see you guys.
Late.